I want to understand exactly where you and the Progressive Caucus are as we sit here this Tuesday morning.
Yeah, John, it's great to be with you in person. We are in the same place that we have been for weeks, which is we said, give us the text of the Build Back Better Act, give us a vote on the Build Back Better Act and the bipartisan infrastructure bill, and we will pass both through the House and send them over to the Senate. Obviously, the bipartisan infrastructure bill has already passed the Senate, but we will send the Build Back Better Act over to the Senate.
I wanted to pause it and jump in right here because this is complete and utter horseshit, right? So let me just read this one pull quote from the top of the tweet. We are finally at a place we have been asking for, demanding over the last several months, which is 2 bills moving together in the House, and we'll get them both done. What she doesn't fucking mention right here at all is that this is a completely gutted horseshit bill, that every hard line in the sand that they said they were going to draw for this, the fact that they were going to quote unquote hold the line for a worthwhile bill. Pramila Jayapal herself was talking about how they didn't want to go under 3.5 trillion. Now we're looking at half of that from the Build Back Better plan. What the fuck do you mean this is what we were asking for 2 months ago? Go back to her Twitter page 2 months ago and we're talking about $3.75 trillion or no deal. Okay, that was back when they decided, no, we're not voting on the bipartisan infrastructure deal. They said, fuck no. And it didn't happen, right? Because then everybody was like, see, people like the Vanguard just want to wish for the worst. They just love getting clicks by sowing doubt in the community. They just should go cover sports or crafts or something. Oh, I wonder who said that. But it's all come back to roost, bro. It's all come back to roost. Because what did they do? Just exactly what we told you. We're not that smart, guys. This was so fucking obvious what was going to happen. I'm not that smart. I knew this was going to happen. They always do this shit. They gut it all the way through, take out everything fucking good, pad it with some corporate handouts so it goes down, a spoonful of sugar for all of the lobbyists. And then it's a complete corporate giveaway. And then they come around and they say, why aren't you so happy about this? We just passed a landmark piece of legislation. This is a great big bill. It's like, no, you took everything out of the fucking bill and you passed an empty bag of beans. That's what you did. You passed like a fucking nothing.
Yep, 100%. You're absolutely right. And it looks like the squad, the progressives, will not be doing what Nina Turner suggested, which would be leveraging their vote in favor of, student loan action, try to get some concessions. It doesn't look like that will be happening either. And as even Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks has admitted on Twitter, it looks like it's over. Complete defeat. Representative Jayapal just went on TV to say progressives are going to fold and vote on corporate-backed BIF without passing Build Back Better. So the bipartisan infrastructure bill without passing the Build Back Better plan, which they've been, pretending that they would not do. And with Manchin saying he might never vote for Build Back Better in its gutted form, mind you. You can't surrender any more thoroughly than that. So basically what has happened is that Jayapal, the leader of the Progressive Caucus, has gone out here and for the first time admitted that they will vote and pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill without it being tied to the Build Back Better plan. And that's something they've been pretending that they won't do for months now, saying that this is our line. We're not going to cross this line. These 2 bills must be voted on and passed together. Now, if you have someone like me or Zach, we would say that at this point they shouldn't even do that because the Build Back Better plan is such a handout to corporations, and all of the actual provisions which would help the working class or the environment have been thoroughly systematically gutted from it. So my position would be to vote no in general in protest and kill the bill. However, they're not even going to be holding the one line that they did have, which would be to only vote on these bills if they were presented together, tied to one another, so that they couldn't just pass the infrastructure bill only for Joe Manchin to then turn around and say, oops, now I'm not going to even support the Build Back Better plan at all because we got the infrastructure bill passed, the bipartisan one. They don't need to pass the Build Back Better one anymore. Joe Manchin can just completely not vote for it, kill it. And then the progressives got played. They got 110% played, completely fell into Joe Manchin's hands, completely capitulated to what him and Kirsten Sinema and frankly the entire Democratic establishment wanted them to. And once again, they found themselves on the losing side of one of these games of chicken, one of these, battles between the progressives and the quote unquote moderates, really right-wing extremist Democrats. But yeah, totally embarrassing, completely and thoroughly humiliating. And many people are pointing just that out in Cenk's replies. So yeah, definitely pretty funny, although depressing at the same time.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just kind of like, it's surprising to me that it takes people so long to get here, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, really, it takes them a long time to get here. And here, I have one other tweet that I wanted to put up from Cenk, because I was just, it's fucking hilarious that Cenk wasn't, if he's gonna say shit like this, he needs to at least like come out and be like, I was completely wrong about force the vote. He makes this point right here on Twitter again for the like 1 millionth time. This is why the left can't fucking get anywhere. We were talking about Dore derangement syndrome, and it's actually a real problem on the left, because anytime Jimmy Dore announces some sort of good plan or any kind of initiative, or he gets behind something, it automatically has to be bad, right? It was kind of like if Trump said something, it had to be bad, even if he was like low key saying something that was the truth, right? They would be like, no, this came out of Trump's mouth. It has to be a lie. And that doesn't mean that, you know, Trump wasn't a lying sack of shit, but it was the same derangement, right? I'm not equating Jimmy Dore to Trump. I'm just saying that the public reaction, or not the public rather, but the media's reaction to what they do, and on the, you know, the leftist scale of what's happened to Jimmy. Either way, Cenk comes out and tweets this: progressives could demand that Democrats bring up each individual provision in the reconciliation bill that is taken out as a standalone vote afterwards. At least that would tell us who the bad guys in the Democratic Party are who are killing these incredibly popular provisions. Huh. I wonder where he got that idea. Funny. Like, it's so fucked up. Like, you can't, like, the left just fucking determined to just eat itself until, and Cenk is a neo-prog, right? He's not a real leftist, right? He's only concerned about the growth of his fucking TYT network, which he, you know, is seemingly running into the ground anyway. But it's so, Jesus Christ, it's so frustrating, because why weren't we all in unison with all of that Bernie Sanders coalition energy? We were still, you know, bearing the, you know, some census of fucking solidarity amongst each other on the left. It felt like at the time, at least compared to now, Jesus. Why couldn't we all have said, guys, we're getting every single motherfucker we can to Washington, D.C. We're standing outside. We're saying, bring this fucking vote to the floor. Didn't happen. Didn't happen at all. But you think that if Cenk, Uygur, Jimmy Dore, Sam Cedar, all these guys that have, you know, obviously Jimmy Dore led the fucking vote, but, you know, Sam Cedar, Cenk, Uygur, all these people that were on the fence about fucking force the vote or just downright trashing it, like the two people I just mentioned, had they actually had their heads screwed on correctly, been like, this is the only rational thing to do, they could have united all their audiences and actually done something meaningful for one fucking time. Right. And instead, they squandered that opportunity by bickering, by coming up with every single possible way why this wouldn't work, because it was a fucking popularized by Jimmy Dore. Even though he fucking read it out of the fucking DSA handbook. This is a fucking well-known political strategy. Like, I don't understand. It's fucking horseshit. But anyway, this is why the left loses.
Yeah, 100%. And it's honestly ridiculous of Cenk to even be tweeting this as if it's something that could possibly happen, when we know damn well that the squad, the progressives, aren't going to do this. And when they've proven time and time again that they're not willing to use their leverage or actually vote in a block to get provisions or concessions from the Democratic Party, from the establishment. Obviously, they're not going to fucking do this, Cenk. So why are you still fantasizing about this? Why is your head so far up your ass that you can't just call these people out for what they are now, which at this point is just, you know, establishment capitulators? These people are not here to actually raise a ruckus. They're not here to put their reelection chances on the line in order to make a bold stand for their constituency. And obviously, they're not going to fucking demand that the Democrats bring up each individual provision in the reconciliation bill that is taken out as a standalone vote afterwards. Yeah, obviously, that's not going to happen. They've been proving that ever since they got into office, and namely in the instance of Force the Vote, Zach, which not only did they not force the vote, they wouldn't even consider it. They didn't even go on a single, show like ours to talk about their rationale behind not embracing the idea. It's not like they, held a fucking town hall and discussed this idea and, why they wanted to use their leverage elsewhere and why they wanted to do this or yada, yada, yada. They didn't even address the concern. They completely ignored it, act like it didn't exist, even, labeled Jimmy Dore violent for bringing it up and trying to hold them to account, trying to get them to, do what they ran on doing. So yeah, for them to act like that in that instance, and then for you to turn around like a year later and be like, they should force the vote. It's like, I wonder if that's going to happen. I think we all know the fucking answer. But yeah, it does appear that they're going to go ahead and pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill before they vote on the Build Back Better plan, which again has been the one line that the progressives have been consistent in refusing to cross up until this point. And now at the behest of Joe Manchin, they're basically handing him the W, allowing this bill to pass. And the most pathetic aspect of the whole situation, in my opinion, is the reason why they're doing this. Seemingly, they were scared into doing this by Democratic establishment leaders, threatening that if Terry McAuliffe loses the Virginia's governor election tonight, if he loses to Glenn Youngkin, the Republican, which is very possibly going to be the outcome, then the progressives were to be blamed in this instance because the rationale would be that, Democratic voters are so sick of this gridlock. They're so sick of, the progressives holding up this legislation that they're unenthusiastic about the Democrats and that they might even vote for the Republican in Virginia, giving him the election. So the squad, in predictable fashion, absolutely terrified of being blamed by the media for anything bad happening, is folding on this so that they don't get blamed for Terry McAuliffe's losing the Virginia gubernatorial election, which hasn't happened yet, but he will probably lose anyway, completely regardless of this negotiation, completely regardless of this infrastructure bill. And like I said, just proving that the squad cares way more about what the goddamn media is saying about them and what they're erroneously being blamed for than actually fighting or getting results for their constituency, for their communities, and doing the shit that they explicitly ran on doing. So this is absolutely fucking pathetic. And if anyone doesn't see this as the absolute last straw when it comes to holding out hope or having any faith in these progressives, then I don't know what to tell you other than that either your head is so far up your fucking ass or you're just very, very naive. Either way, maybe this is a good juncture to come to terms with the reality of the situation because these motherfuckers aren't coming to save us. They're not even going to fight.